how to attach door panels to the door with magnets. Hey gang, welcome back to the shop. In a previous video I showed you the finished product of some magnetic door panels. So today I thought I'd bring you along as we're preparing some more door panels for this beautiful 1968 390 GT big block car. So without further ado, let's get started. Now if you're lucky enough as we are to have donor doors that we can use to attach our door panels, it makes it a whole lot easier when you can lay them flat and lay your magnets out and do all your prep work. If you're trying to do it with it on the car, it can still be done and taping the door panels up in place, but it will be more of a challenge. You can also make a template of your door and then lay it on your door panels to transfer where your magnets need to be, but we prefer to try to do it on the door. Now let's talk about a little bit of prep work here. I make sure that I go through and circle all my door clips that I want to use, because we're not going to use all of them. We're going to skip the very far one here on the right, that little guy right over there. There's too many magnets right up in that area, so it'd be make it a little tough to get the door panel off, so skip that very center one. Prep work wise, it's pretty simple. We're going to take our magnets, which are approximately 1.26 inches in diameter by 0.08 in height. They're N52 neodymium or rare earth magnets. Very powerful, very strong. Be very careful with them. They're fragile and they can slam into each other and shatter. If you drop them on the floor, they'll shatter. So the first thing that I'm going to do to prep for this, which I've already done a little bit off camera, is on the back of my door panel, I have taken sandpaper, some 150 grit, and knocked off a little bit of all the glue and just miscellaneous surface area of the door panel to make sure that we get good adhesion. And then we're also going to be doing the same to our magnets. So here's my stack of magnets we're going to be using on this project right here. So to get these things off, you have to slide them off from the side. It's going to have a little spacer in there. And then we're going to set them down in our holes, right where our clips are going to go. In some of these areas, the valley isn't as big as these magnets are, and you can get a little bit of wiggle. Don't worry about the wiggle. Just kind of lay it flat and the adhesive will fill in the rest. Here's another one of them areas where it wiggles back and forth. So I just try to get as flat as possible. If it sucks down to one side, I'm just going to let it go. Skipping this hole. Just remember, if you're going to come close to where the edge of the door panel is to move more toward the inside than on the outside, so that the panel will lay nice and flush against your door. Okay, we have that done now. The next thing I like to do now is come along with our 150 grit and scuff up these magnets. They're very smooth, and we want to give some bite, just almost like you're painting a car. We want the adhesive to have something to bite into. So I'm going to come along, and I'm just going to give these a good little scratching, and then wipe them clean. And we're going to go along and do all 15 magnets that we're doing here. There we go. Now you don't have to get crazy on just sanding them down. You just want to try to get a little bit of scuff on them. Let's see if I can get you in there. Just something similar to that. That way we'll have a bite. The next thing that we're going to do now is mix up our two-part epoxy. What kind of epoxy do we need to use, Glenn? Well, it can be several things. We utilize a lot of 3M products here in the shop. Now this is a panel adhesive, and this is called 8115. You can't see the part number, but it's 8115. We have this at our disposal, so that's what we use. You could use probably Quickset JB Weld or other two-part epoxies that provide good gripping strength. Gorilla Glue makes a lot of them also. There's a lot of good products out there that should work, but this is what we use here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and mix this up real quick and then be right back. Okay, now we have a product all mixed up here. This takes a good several hours to dry, so there's no quick rush to get it applied or anything. Like if you were using something that would, set within 2 or 3 minutes. I'd advise you try to stay away from that if possible. So now we're going to go along and apply it to the magnets. Trying to build it up about 1/8 of an inch in height. Be very careful not to glue your magnet to your door panel, or to your door shell, I should say. You don't have to cover the whole magnet. Remember, the door panel is going to push out a lot of it. Looks like I'm going to have to mix up some more. I had 1 or 2 areas that slipped off of my magnet, so I'm going to wipe it off real quick. I should probably be wearing gloves. Make it easier for my cleanup for sure. I think that just about does it. Now we're ready for our door panels. So just come in and position it right where you want it to set. Gently push down on it. Push down where all your magnets are at so that adhesive can press out. Now, what we'll also do here, this is at the end of the day here at the shop, I will go ahead and set some catalogs on here to just keep some pressure applied to it and make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, that'll finish this up. We're going to knock out the other side door real quick, and we're going to call it a day. All right, gang, thanks again for stopping by. We're going to let this dry overnight. We'll give you a quick peek at what it looks like come tomorrow, and we'll be right back. Hey gang, welcome back to the shop. Well, it's the next day, and let's take a look at our work on getting our magnets put onto our door panels. Now, in full disclosure, the other door panel sets that I've done have been on 65, 66 cars. So the door shell is shaped a little bit different and the panel is shaped a little bit different. So I did learn something here on the 67.8 door panels that do not apply to the 65.6 cars. And I'm going to point that out to you. And also, when I told you to be careful about putting too much adhesive that you'll glue down one of your magnets, well, that's one of those things where do as I say and not as I did, because sure enough, I glued one down. So I'll show you what I did and how we're going to make those repairs. So let's get to it. Okay, so we have our panel here. Overall, it came out exceptionally well. Real happy with it. We just had the two little issues that I previously mentioned. The magnet that was right here, some of the adhesive oozed over, and it glued it to the door shell. So I have found when you're taking these off here, almost do it like when we take off ones with the clip. I like to start here at the front bottom corner and then work my way up and try to give support to where your magnets are at to help pull the door panel off. Okay, so here's our magnet that was glued down, so no worries. When I got to it, I gave a lot of support on both sides of it and gently kept pulling up on it until it finally separated from the door panel itself. Just took off a little bit of paper, no worries. And then we just ground the adhesive off, and we're just going to reset it. So, easy fix. Now the next thing is the magnet that went on this spot right here is causing a bump. And if you look at it from a different angle, you can see a little bit of the magnet itself. Let me take you off the tripod and see if I can show it to you. Let me grab a light. Okay. See that magnet there? You can see it from the top. Now you could, try to put a Band-Aid on it and paint it black, and when it's especially on a black panel going onto a black door, you probably wouldn't see it. But it also, we have a little bit of a rise there, and it's just sticking out. So to us, that's unacceptable, and we are going to fix that. And what we're going to end up doing is removing that magnet from the panel itself. I'll use a putty knife and just work my way up underneath it and pull it off. We'll grind it off again, and then we'll mix up some more epoxy. Now when we remove this door panel here, there's another indentation right next to it that sits a little bit lower, right about here. So we're going to put that magnet right there and glue it, and it's still going to keep that panel pulled down. The driver's side door did the same thing, and I just didn't catch it when we were doing that. So that's specific to the 67.8 shells. So we're going to relocate that magnet and get this done. So we're going to move from this spot to this indentation right here. This sits below the door panel, so that'll help pull it nice and tight so it's good and snug against the door shell, and that's what we want. Okay, so we've mixed up some more epoxy. We're just going to wash, rinse, and repeat again. Try to be a little more careful this time. Much better, much better. Okay, we're gonna put our pad on this and our weight and let it sit overnight again and let it dry, and that should do it. Always remember, haste makes waste. So, okay gang, that's gonna do it for this video. Sorry it's been a little discombobulated here, but anyway, I hope this helps you with your project, and we'll catch you on the next video. Stay alert, stay alive.